Europeans.
Okay, but okay, so on this world, who do you think like was the first race?
The worst.
Right. So we can make albino babies, right? Mm-hmm. And like the same characteristics, the same traits that they have is the same thing that he's like, like
no, I'm not like that.
Like I'm just like I don't know. Like this is what I think. I think that there's like white Africans, right? I think that they're literally black.
I didn't say right. But go ahead.
I say right, but go ahead. They live there.
Yeah. I honestly think.
I see you riding, but ain't with you.
I honestly think like, like everyone had a piece of black in them, and we was just basically like dispersed in different places, different.
I say do the research. I know.
I did the research.
Scientifically, like DNA wise, like if you go like by genetic code and genus, we're not the same. So they're not the same as us.
I'm not saying that they're basically the same. What I am saying is, well, actually, I am
saying they're basically.
I am saying that. So excuse, I apologize. You're right. That is what I am saying.
Yeah, I've seen otherwise, but that's scientifically. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think we're still all like on this earth together. All of this stuff is one thing.
We're earthlings.
So if we get that together, man, all the other stuff is out the window.
Shout out to Bruno. We're earthlings.
Right. We're all earthlings.
We're all earthlings.
From the little lizard that runs across the sidewalk when you walk down the sidewalk to us, we're all earthlings. So it kind of doesn't matter, but technically they're from another genus. They're not really.
See, this is how I see it. Okay. So when black folk, and this is what I'm talking about 30 years ago, when black folk would say, Jesus was black. White people say, well, it doesn't matter what color he is. Right? That's the thing. So then I would follow up and say, you're black. Right. It don't matter.
Right. So we agree. That's when you get away from Yeah, but get one of them to say it.
They'll never say it.
It's one thing to read it.
They'll never say it.
They will not.
Who wrote the Bible?
I can't say all of them.
Some of them.
It was inspired by God.
Some of them.
That's all you need to know. Don't matter who wrote it. Don't matter.
Different
King James, that says his mama ain't wrote a book called Demonized. That don't matter. It matters is it was inspired. Because King James ain't write it, right? He just took the scrolls.
He paid for it.
Yeah, because you got the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah,
you got the Apocrypha. Right. You got all that, and they basically made it their own way. What I truly believe,
and I hear you. I want to
translate it to English.
Publishing.
I hear you. But
this book was written in English.
But the Anunnaki, right? The writings that just talk about the Anunnaki, the writings that talk about those writings were ahead of this, right? So, so if I'm not mistaken, 12 or 13, the Jesus story is the 13th version of God's Son, right? Being born by a virgin. It's the 13th version. I think the 12th or the 13th version of that story.
Story
right?
of Christ.
That's right. So now, what makes that story more popular is that got a hell of a PR guy.
Yeah.
Had a hell of a PR guy.
Yeah.
But there are other stories.
those
stories have similarities. So when we get away from, back to my point. So when I say to them and say he's black, there was this moment where that group, it was beneficial to that group because they were predominantly the wealthy class. It was to their benefit to create the race situation, to keep us, the common people, fighting amongst each other over something that really doesn't matter, like race.
Right. It just
Why they pull strings to everybody.
We can't get together while we worried about black or white.
Right.
That's why I say, man, all of this stuff is one thing anyway.
Right.
So it's kind of moot to even, entertain something so small as like,
literally race is not a thing.
Number one, we're talking about a guy that nobody ever met.
Right.
Okay, maybe like if you follow the history line, maybe this can't be possible. Maybe, I don't know what you study. When you put the numbers together, maybe this is kind of crazy. This is like far-fetched. It's a great story, that's far-fetched. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you get hung up on some of the other stuff, it's like, man, what are we doing? Right. If all this stuff is one thing, what are we doing? If you know this to be true, like, what are we doing? Why are we still playing? No, that's true though. Nobody cares about it.
Nobody, of course not nobody, but
yeah, but commonly society doesn't care.
Yeah, because it's more beneficial to people as individuals
It's
in a capitalistic society to have more than someone else. So you have to be different for me to justify how I move and how I treat you. Right. That's but that's again the puppet master pulling the string.
And like he said, they had the perfect PR guy. But see, they also are the reigning empire of this world. Right?
Yes.
Like how many other empires are still reigning today? I'll wait.
Not many.
They sent the army around, they ain't stopped.
Yeah.
They ain't stopped yet.
But all the empires
gotta come to an end.
They all in.
Yeah, so they're just the reigning ones. So that's how good they were. They traveled around snatching up information and books and desecrating belief systems that didn't want to bow down. And then they just came back and was like, hey, study this, passing out their new material. Right. Study this and believe in this, or else we'll be back. Right. If somebody was like, man, we don't want that, they like, right. Get up out of here.
People care more.
We don't need the resistance.
People care more about that than the fact that like everything you do comes from a real, we call it thought. Just a word that we got to it. But for you to blink your eyes, bro, move your hand or whatever you're doing, it's like comes off a thought. For you to get out of bed, for you to cook something, for you to write a book, for you to make a song, for you to really put an outfit together. It all comes from a realm that's not physical.
Yeah.
But so this just gives people something to look at, so they don't see. It's like you staring at a tree and it's a whole.
It's an illusion, man.
It's a whole forest, it's a whole jungle, it's a whole Shangri-La, it's a whole paradise.
Yeah.
But you're looking at this tree, debating if.
And you're like, what about this bark? It's green right here. I like the green. It's different from the brown.
And
like, man, you're analyzing it like you're missing it.
It's all perspective.
You didn't even see the deer run past.
It's all perspective. They control
you don't see the squirrels in the top of the tree because you're looking at this part of the tree.
So somebody was on the social show said,
you don't even see the other trees.
He actually said that they got us in an illusion, and they got us on a schedule inside the illusion.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
They gave you a clock to keep you on the schedule. But think about it. But I mean, when I was a young dude in the military, man, Thursday night I got to go home because I got to watch country. Hey, you up? But you know what I'm saying? You got to go home. Everybody go. The world is sitting around the TV. Black America is sitting around the TV watching Cosby on Thursday night. Yeah. They control your movement, and so the Super Bowl coming on. What are people gonna be doing? They're gonna be they're scheduling the manipulation.
They call it must-see TV. That's a broadcast.
Right.
Look, you casting a spell, right? So the TV is called a national broadcast.
Yeah.
So they casting a spell, bro. It's a broadcast.
I believe like the New World Order and all that other stuff.
Now that's your regularly scheduled
program.
That's what they call it. But I mean, like, man, if you truly believe in manifestation, if somebody can control your thoughts, like, man, so now they got us in an illusion, right? And then they got us regulated by time in this illusion, but they got us creating the illusion.
Right.
So if you know your thoughts create, what you think on creates, and you know this, why don't you control what you create instead of looking at these screens to get an idea from someone else what to create?
Because if you're using their ideas, you're using
that's the trick.
You're using their words, you're using their definitions.
Their dialect,
no matter what
their
you
sounds.
think you're doing their work.
You're creating this illusion we live in. You're creating this world we live in. By mass broadcast, they train our thoughts, and then our thoughts create the world. So if they give you what to think, they ain't even got to worry about you.
Yeah.
And I gave you what to think, man. Just do it, man, and I'm gonna be good over here partying.
And that even goes back to the Bible. The Bible is a book of thoughts become things.
Right.
Jesus spoke to the bush, went to the bush, came out of the bush. He spoke. It's quite literal.
Yeah.
It's quite literal. Like he's spoken to it. The thing is that you're supposed to take literal out of the Bible, and you don't take it out of the Bible.
Right.
You see, it's not supposed to be literal. We'd be like,
I'm a one day
Spit
water. What?
Well, I still believe in the Bible wholeheartedly.
oh no, he trying to. I ain't trying to.
I'm not saying
I'm not.
No.
Y'all good. I'm not saying y'all are. I'm not offended at all.
This is not about that though. You know, the Bible is a tool that can teach you a lesson about something, but you know, get the message.
There's magic. You just gotta. There's magic. You just. The masses don't know how to read and interpret and use the magic for their own personal benefit. So all holy books have magic, but I say read all holy books.
Yeah,
that's
all
what
of them.
I should read all of them.
I mean, because all the Bible is the personification of spirituality. So they made spirituality an actual person.
Mhm.
And that's the disconnect.
And it's a story that every person can
Right.
do, but you gotta get what it is. You gotta get the message.
But it's a belief system, so therefore it don't require logic. You know what
No,
I'm saying? You can just believe it, and that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Walk by faith, not by sight.
No.
that's
It's
no.
like Tinkerbell. Remember Tinkerbell?
Try that. Go out there on
Tinkerbell was
Saturday.
like, you gotta believe.
Walk not by sight. Walk by faith, not by sight.
I still, you know, without
That's
with.
just talking about playing in this.
Go drive home to our
No. You hear me? I'm gonna be real with you though. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real with you.
Just put it out there. Just say let's not talk about one another.
There weren't any cars back then anyway.
Right.
Where was it about running cameras straight down?
You don't get hit by a running horse.
Okay.
But I don't know, man. I believe in it, and I truly believe, like, you know, walking by faith and not by sight. Like, this is how it got me farther. You know, it got me along. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, I was even in a car crash one time. I was even touched. You know what I'm saying? So I believe in it wholeheartedly.
If you believe it, it's true.
You know what I'm saying?
So we can just go.
Yeah.
From there.
Because you can believe I was God, and the person that was in the next car that flipped, man, they was unheard. They was losing, they was Allah, and the other person
And
in
Allah
the
still
car,
got a serious buck.
that, this
but-
and that.
But we also just talked about thoughts, right? So like, if this be your thought, so it be.
Hey, that's you.
Right.
You believe it, it's true.
Yeah. So you created it.
And therefore it became.
You believe.
I'm gonna gain 10 pounds, bro, and then you
You
can
believe it. You can.
go and start eating and start working out.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
But hey,
So,
Like,
man,
you
make
believed
it so
it,
it
and
is.
you made it real.
Right.
I mean, did God create us?
So
Or
like
we
they
create
lose
God?
weight because I keep saying I'm fat.
Did God create us? Or we create God?
Did God create us and we create God? Yeah. God created us.
You created God.
He created God is the spirit.
Where does God come from?
It's spirit. So it's like, that's a question I can't even.
So, if you don't know that, what makes you think you know that?
Because God said it, Jason.
No, that's a good question. That's a good question.
No, this is real though.
No, that's a good question. I see what you're doing. That's my knowledge.
No, I'm just
No,
saying.
this is
like,
not. This is
I
to
don't
make you just think.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not a test.
It's not like, I'm not saying like no wrong thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
No, that question just came to me just in this conversation. I ain't
Right.
never even thought about that question. That's why I was like, hold on, Black. I was
Yeah,
like,
this is not a test.
if
Yeah,
we
it's
don't
just,
know where any of this comes from,
how do you know the
what make us think that we know
Exactly.
who did it?
It's all a question. man.
Good one.
We don't know nothing. We don't know nothing.
Right.
Yeah,
You have to
like
see
it-
it.
We don't know. We
but you
don't
know what
we
you-
literally
But
don't
you
know, bro.
you know, like something
Well,
that can
I'm
help
not
you get
teaching
started
everybody.
on the journey. Like you can you can research the words. You know, like you want to know where God came from. Who started saying the word God first? Right? What do these sounds mean? What are these letters in this sequence mean? When you make these sounds, what does this mean? What does it create? Get to that first. And that might lead you down a path that's going to take you so many places. We can't say it.
That's really good that you said that. I actually did start studying that too. Like they said, like what our English language, it first started off in Great Britain or something, and then basically we're basically speaking broken down English, and then like Jamaicans, they speak it more broken. But like they said, this came derived from 500 years ago. So like from then on, we like J literally just started. It used to be with Y. So like I actually did start studying certain stuff too. And then I didn't study as much of the Quran. I didn't study as much of the different stuff. But what I did was I basically tested certain stuff out as well. That's why I'm like so strong within that belief. And now everyone's different. So I'm not trying to like,
No, everybody, but I like the way you put it. I say like, how do you know what you know is what you know?
that's deep.
Right? So that's kind of how I like to put it. But then we talk about the alphabet real quick in the English language. The last two letters to be added to the English language happened in 114 AD. Those last two letters were J and The last two letters were J and E.
I am
So-
agree. I am.
Right. So
Burning bush.
yeah, in the beginning was the word God, the word God. So the power is in
So
word.
the
But
word
that's
is
what-
vibration.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because the power ain't necessarily in the word because you can It doesn't even have to be a word. You know what I'm saying? You can be better with that.
That sound.
Prove it
Yes, you can.
scientifically.
Absolutely.
So the words are just something that we have to like send a vibration to a trajectory. You know what I'm saying?
We we're trying to explain the unexplained.
Right.
Right. I know. I told the story before. I remember I was sitting out talking to my father.
I know. Okay, yeah.
And he said we were looking up in the sky. These birds flew by. He made a comment about the birds, and I said, "Well, we don't know that they could be a bird. I think we just all agree to call it a bird. It may not refer to itself that way." And he bugged me. He said, "You sound just like so and so." He said, "You don't know if this is what, and you don't know if that was." And we're like, "Yeah, we're right. We don't know. We don't know that that's a tree, but we are all in agreement that when we speak of that, we are going to call that a tree. Right? But that's just an agreement. So we're all in a contract with one another, right? We're all in agreement with one another to use language to figure things out, or it's kind of our way of looking at the world and trying to get people to see our way of looking at the world. That's what some of you talk to people, man, they don't know what you're talking about.
Scientists are gonna talk about everything except for what they don't know.
Yes.
They're gonna stay away from that.
No, I don't know about that. They know what this is when it gets weird for me.
But
They
you got
start talking about
string
space.
theory
They start
or
talking about
theoretical.
space. Yes. If the black hole does this. Really?
When the last time you went through one?
How you know?
I mean, but that's scientists have the best grip on it because they speak in terms of theory. It's never to know.
Right.
It's never like I know. That's what I always say. I know I don't know anything.
Yeah.
It's all a conversation.
And it
That's why-
starts with the hypothesis, which is the question anyway.
right. That's
But it's like
it's
if you can't prove it, it's just like a wash.
Right,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Even though if you can't like prove it in their language or
Right.
their words, they're like, oh, this guy's just talking.
But that's why religion works because it's the definitive. That's it. So you like who created God? You like God created God. Well, God. You like I just know God created God.
And then people tell you to just believe it.
Right. But
But
that's
then the word believe, like it's gonna strike on you. Then
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
How they exist.
and you start doing it, you start believing.
but that's why if you believe in it, then it's so. And I'm not going. It's hard to have an honest conversation about that.
Yeah.
And that's how this shit is all designed.
Yeah.
To not be able to have an honest conversation about it. So that's why it's like it's fun to talk about. That's why we're not making fun of you, talking down, being condescending. We can have a conversation because it's all a question.
Yeah, that's all.
I'm not taking offense at all. Listen.
We don't think you are.
Everyone has their own opinion and their own belief.
Absolutely.
I listen to everyone. You know, y'all took time, y'all listen to me as well, and I'm really thankful for that. You know, so everyone has their own belief system. Everyone believes in what they believe in. They believe in their own faith. They believe in their own religion, or they don't believe in faith. That's them. I'm not going to sit there and not know one whoever does. I'm not going to force it upon no one. I know for me specifically, I believe in Yeshua. That's his name in Hebrew. I believe in Yeshua wholeheartedly. I believe in the Bible. Do I believe that the Bible has some things that was taken out and mixed up? Of course I do. Hebrews 4:13, it talks about that. Man created certain things, but it's God that created all things. And who is God? God is spiritual. So it's a spiritual being. So it's not like humans. Humans are basically made over and over again. You know, it's just a cycle of life. So it's like we become babies. We not fornicate, but you know what I mean. So we get together. Yeah, well, yeah, but if you're married, then you're not fornicating. But yeah, so like you know what I'm saying? You get together, you create a creature, you create another human being. But like a spirit, lives on forever. So how then? Who created him? You are right. That's something I can't answer. But the Bible specifically what it says, the Scripture says, is
What do you mean?
him.
What do you mean? Who created them?
I'm saying like even I don't know. That's why I just
So
said.
you saying God, or you saying like a baby?
Who created God?
Oh, God. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I was confused because we were talking about a baby, and I was like, oh, well, we know who created the baby, man.
Right.
Dang, so, but look, I can create my own humans, right? I have co-created a human with another human. You know, I've taken my mind and I've made something I saw in my mind a reality. You know, I've taken life, you know, I've stepped on a roach. You know what I'm saying? There's different things. Have I ever given life? I created that. So it's like, what am I?
God.
Because
They say
I'm doing other things. Right. I've been, you know, I flooded an ant pile. I flooded an ant pile. You know what I'm saying? I'm
destroying the world.
What I do?
Okay,
Right.
so using the story, God, we are the breath of God, right? So then that means we're all God.
God got lungs?
Well, the Bible says the
According
breath
to-
of God
according to-
gave life.
According to the saying and then proof, right?
Because lungs are like three-dimensional things, right?
So actually this way, he says, so what is God in when you begin?
Yeah.
Where does God end and you begin?
Where does the Bible say God is?
I think it's gonna separate.
No, right.
No.
I don't think so. I don't think
I
there's separation.
know
Where does
it's
the
not.
Bible say God resides?
I ain't gonna say I don't think I know.
Well, I'm saying
In you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's found in the kingdom, right? I mean, the Bible says the kingdom of God is found in the kingdom.
Yeah.
It says that in the Bible.
I believe we are Demi God.
No, it says you are a God. No, not
Life
Demi.
and death. I believe we are basically like because life and death is in the power of the tongue.
The Bible says that you are.
We was made
God.
in the image of God. That's what the Bible specifically says in the book of Genesis. So since we are made in the image of God, we also have power to speak life and death. So if you were to have that thought as a man, take it. So we get with that thought, then after that you speak life or death. So that's what I truly believe.
You know the Bible say made in their image and their likeness.
Yeah.
because
Familiar with?
So then some people
the
say,
emerald
oh, that
tablet?
means L, right? It's
Paul,
always
you ever researched or ran across the emerald tablet? Have you ever heard the saying, as above, so below?
on earth as it is in heaven. It's the same.
Oh, that's in the Bible. Yeah.
That's exact.
Yeah. So do you have an understanding of that? What that means?
What were you going to?
I mean, like, it just pertains to this conversation. Like, if you have a general understanding of this thing, then it would be like, you know, it would kind of explain like how if God is your father, or like if you believe God to be your father and you're his offspring, so you're a child of God, how can you not be a God? How can you be a demigod? I mean, because if you said that your father's a God, when they were going to stone Jesus in the middle of town, he said, why y'all going to stone me?
So
He ran.
So above, so below, so
He
if
ran.
he's the God and down here in the lower fractal, you're a God too. But he said, are you a God?
Wrong sir.
Hold on. So look, this is why I say like Demi God, bro. Reason why being because as you mentioned, and it's also in scripture, like you can't not tempt thy Lord thy God. Like I can't just sit there and commit suicide and then thinking I'm just gonna be invincible, Superman and I'm straight. You see what I'm saying? That's why I said demigod. Like you literally can't just sit there and tell God, like, yo, I'm gonna be living this whole time and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And be immortal.
You believe Yahshua to be a God?
Yeshua, I believe Yeshua is God.
Did he die?
Did he die as a human?
Okay. Are you in the form of a human?
Yes.
So why would you not be a God if the God you worship died as a human as well?
So I said demigod, bro, because we don't
Yeah,
have all the
get what
power.
he's saying. Yeah,
I see what he's saying. I'm saying I'm not disagreeing, but I'm gonna disagree to a certain
But
extent.
I get
Because I can't sit there and run like what
It's
you
a
mentioned
move,
earlier.
it's a move
I can't
down the
run in front of a car and then be like, you know what I'm saying, and then I can stop it. I can't pull no. Unless you were to give me that power to do
But I
you
dig
see
it.
what I'm saying?
But I dig it. But you ever heard of God doing that though? It's
Actually,
like
yeah, there's
it's
a
like
story
people
about a
be
woman in the
expecting this.
Yes. There's a story about a woman. You can look it up. There's a story about this woman. Her baby, she got into a car crash. I think the car flipped, or there was a car that collided. Her infant baby was in the car. She had the power. She literally lifted the car up. I was in a car crash. The car crash was literally so bad, the whole car was damaged. The tire popped off. I literally hit the guardrail on my right-hand side. I almost got hit by an 18-wheeler, almost got hit by a minivan. The whole car was messed up, but my side was completely clean. I walked out free. Nothing happened to me. I wasn't touched or nothing, but the car was completely damaged. Like, dude,
You give
stuff
God
like that. Stuff like that, that ain't the only time. I almost got shot at before. I did not get touched. Who got touched? The very person you reap with yourself. The very person that did what he did. So it had him coming. He died. I didn't. There's a lot of stuff that done happened. I done dodged. Yes, I believe wholeheartedly. You see what I'm saying? I believe it wholeheartedly.
Well, what about that little 4-year-old that's getting raped right now? So
There is plenty of people, and it talks about this stuff in the scripture. They said like it'd be better for them to have like a noose tied around their neck, for them to go into deep water. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. You can look that up in the book of Matthew. So yes, there's people there's people that serve God, and there's people that serve the devil. There's people that don't believe completely. There's people that are willing to do their own practices.
So if you believe, then it is so.
Yes,
That's all.
yes.
Harrison, I am so glad you came to the conference. And I would love, I can't wait for you. Please, when we got to come down, come and fill the room with your energy. Yeah.
it's just so much going on. It's hard for me, like,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
when I see somebody say like fair ain't fair, but then I know it's some people being marginalized and tortured, and even every day over here, you know, it's so much going on, and it's like, when
Where's
is
the God
favor
in
gonna
this?
be fair?
Yeah, where's the God?
Yeah, when is favor gonna be fair? God ain't fair?
No,
Well, Christian will say favor ain't fair, like God ain't fair?
no.
Yeah.
Damn,
God's not
we in trouble.
Free will, man. I know a 2-year-old. Just
No,
died.
but I'm
What
not
they gotta
talking
do
about,
with
yeah,
free
I'm talking about.
will? Shout out to Logan, man. Man, Logan had leukemia, man. He's 2 years old.
There's
So what do you mean?
There's mothers that dump their babies right in dumpsters, and there's people that kill babies, rape them. They got all this different type of stuff. I'm not saying what's coming to them is not coming to them. We all reap what we sow. We all have choices. Just like as you said, your thoughts. And then after the thoughts, then you were to speak it or you do it. As a man thinketh, so he is.
You hear, look, I ain't trying to excuse your faith, but like I said, you believe it, and so, and then it's so. But when you say that we all have free will and choices, and you think a 2-year-old has no choice, a 7-year-old has no choice. So if you are relying solely on scripture and you don't have a full understanding on what that scripture is saying, then dig a little deeper.
Well, going back to what he stated earlier, I thought as a child, I acted as a child. As I got older, I put away the childish thing. When you're a child, you are right. You don't know what's right from wrong, but you get taught from whoever is there. Now, Now, there are some people, as I mentioned earlier, that are willing to do certain stuff that are just disgusting. Or there are some people that, okay, remember when I mentioned earlier about the generational curse? So if you was a murderer, right? What makes you think that stuff won't fall back on you? If it misses you, it can go on your children or their children. It's could be generational thing.
So we need to.
This is a tough
No.
one.
So what you're talking about is passing on the baton from one generation to the other. So each generation has a responsibility to heal the wounds of the past, because you are the result of every ancestor you had. Their DNA, all of their DNA is present in you, right? And all of their DNA plus your DNA and the mother of your child's DNA is in your child. Right. So that's who you are. You are all of that, right? So you have we have a responsibility to heal.
This is my thing, right? All this tragedy, all this stuff going on, right? With all these people and everybody and it's suppression and the, misinformation and all this that's going on. With free will, is favor, is this, is that. Does it make any sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's a God and it's a just God that's reigning over everything and the wicked and this and that, but it's wickedness happening literally every second of every moment. So to me, right, I ain't gonna try to say, this means that God don't exist because it's happening. I won't do that. Some people will. Some people will say, well, God can't be real because that's happening. So blah, throw it all out. I ain't gonna say that because that ain't my thing to say. But in my mind, I know that if I can't understand how this is going, how can I think that I understand or that I know what God is? I don't know what the hell going on. People suffering, people being oppressed, people getting killed, kids. It's disease. They're using millionaire celebrities to coerce your kids into eating processed food. You know what I'm saying? They're feeding your kids garbage at school. After you get surgery, they giving you pork and milk.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's the pastor's getting richer, the church is still poor, the neighborhood's still poor. So it's like, to me, it's just like, it don't make sense. So I would not dare to pretend like I understand what is going on or where it's coming from or why it's doing it. Or I just don't know.
If I may. So, y'all know about Hitler, right?
Yeah.
Hitler was a dictator.
Yeah.
No one had free will. Everything had to follow suit of what he wanted. Right now, you guys are here. You guys are choosing to do what you guys are doing right now. If y'all believe that God is not doing, y'all believe that God is honestly not doing certain things, and then y'all believe like because of the people that's going through what they're going through. Let me ask y'all this. All the wrong stuff that y'all did, don't y'all think y'all should be punished for certain stuff? So if he forgave y'all, or if he gave y'all a chance, y'all are still breathing, y'all woke up another day, y'all still are doing what y'all are doing. It is the same for everybody else. And everyone, as you mentioned earlier, as he mentioned earlier, the thoughts, and then as you mentioned, about the energy, or as you mentioned, about you basically speaking it. So you guys are speaking your opinion on certain stuff as well as I am. Now everyone does their own research. Everyone is basically choosing to believe what they want to believe, and everyone is also saying, well, because of all these bad things. Okay, we all did bad things.
I just know that I don't know.
No, because that's the whole. See, this is the thing. We're not rejecting divine principles. We were rejecting indoctrination. It's not even about God. It's the indoctrination behind it that you're fighting.
The religion, right?
Right.
I never said I was religious.
No, but you sound real indoctrinated.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. The reason why I do sound that way is because excuse me.
That's your spiritual foundation.
Right,
It's your
because
spiritual
the brother was
foundation.
asking me, have I done research, have I studied upon it? So what I said was yes. So I'm answering that with the doctrination. However, I'm not religious. Reason why being because, as I mentioned earlier, I truly believe that there was stuff taken out of the Bible and that the Bible is also mixed up with different stuff. Yeah, okay, you read the Bible, right?
But you
got ESV. Go ahead.
You do understand that it's a lot more complex than just taking in, putting in, taking out.
Because
Yes. It's a lot deeper than that. It's also written in our dead texts and dead dialects, and then these things are translated over time. It's written in some cases Latin.
Yeah.
It's written in text that only like 1,200 people in the whole world can kind of speak. So you ever played that game Telephone? So it's like, say we all in a circle as a kid, we all in a circle, and then I whisper a message or a sentence or a phrase, and Devin did, and he whispers it into the next person. He only can say it once. I only can say it once, and it's passed down and goes in a circle. By the end of that circle, every single time, 100% of the time, whatever I whispered in his head at the beginning will get lost in translation. So imagine if you did that in a text for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years. Things will get lost in translation where it'll be diluted, which is why in the Bible it's told in short story or parable form, and which is why they pass down short stories, because you don't lose the message in the story. like you ever talk to somebody who's like Spanish? You say, how do you say this in Spanish? And they go, well, you can't say that in Spanish, but this is the closest thing to it.
Right.
Imagine if somebody did that
And it's like roundabout.
a million times.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by.
That's why I said earlier, it's about the message.
That's why he asked you about.
That's why he explained 13 other books that are similar stories, because it's about the message.
That's why he asked you about Elohim. And
I never said nothing about it. All I said was I truly believe that there's also different stuff. Dead Sea Scrolls, you got the Apocrypha, you got all the different stuff as well.
right. So the whole point is you're not rejecting divine principles, because a lot of these stories and epithets have similar or identical divine principles that does not get lost in translation. I wonder why that is. The indoctrination is the part that makes it toxic. That's what makes the word not drinkable. The truth.
Yeah, it sets it on like a fixed position. So now, when new information is introduced, it's like what I was talking about before, that ego survival, because this is your identity. So for me to allow that in would be like I have to change my identity or admit that
you were wrong.
my present
someone else.
identity
Right.
is not the truth. So that must mean that I've been living in it's like it's so many layers.
It's a whole catch-22.
Yeah, it's like a mind blow.
Which is understood. That's why if I ask you, like, did you create God or did God create you? It's a question to beget more questions. It's not to say you wrong,
Yeah,
I'm right.
Yeah, there's not like most of this stuff. There's no answers. This is like for thought.
And it's why somebody can say, what's this?
Right.
Right. Doctrination.
That's why we can have compassion and be silent, because we understand that we all
We're aware.
prisoners of the asylum.
Yeah.
We all are part of a sick society, and some of that, in some dynamic or some place, it has worked for all of us in some way, because we're able to do this. So it's not like there's no definitive or there's no definitive finite answer that is just like I got the answer. Which is why we have this conversation, which is why it's called the conversation before the conversation. It's not called the conversation.
And which is why it's called a belief system, because even these people who always want to provide facts and so forth,
Right.
they still willing to say this is a belief system, which is also them saying we don't really know.
Right.
Because they'll say they know everything. They'll say the numbers of
Yeah. It's
COVID is over
scientific.
here,
Right.
and it's proven that
If the
these
word
numbers
belief is
this,
not added, it's scientific, right?
but
Or it's called fact.
It's never
it's a
belief.
hypothesis.
Yeah, belief is a tough word too. You know, the meaning and all that. Like it's tough, man.
It's belief like trans. No, that's.
It's deep.
I wouldn't say that's
Believe,
not hypothesis.
the etymology of the word belief means
Be the lie. I
It's-
come
it's-
with you with the lie.
it's yeah, come with the line.
I come with you with the lie.
Nah, man, it's be a leaf, like, you know what I'm saying? Be planted and rooted in the truth.
But yo, a great quote is from. Yo, yeah, that was so good. Man. I'm like, man,
Yeah,
stop that shit, man. Nah, I just ignored it, bro. I knew what he was doing.
Be a leaf, man.
That wasn't the hook. Hey, there's a great quote from Men in Black, and he looks at Wilson's character. He goes, 2,000 years ago, the world knew we knew that the world was flat. Imagine what we'll know tomorrow.
Mm.
That's the whole.
That you'll fall off the edge.
Shit, we just came back to that shit.
Yeah.
Right. It's a hologram. The moon ain't real. Why does water keep moving according to that? Man?
Always know
Tell the tide to stop this.
what we do know is that we don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like
No clue.
who I want to say was Tony Brown, I believe it was. And he said, take everything you know and say that everything you know is a drop of water. Then you take everything you know you don't know. And that would be like a glass. Then take everything you don't know and that's the ocean. Right? So we can, like we did a little bit now because we do this, so we do a little bit now. We actually just have a conversation about drop of water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we have a
good.
conversation.
You don't know, you're right, but like the ocean's so big, like, you know.
Yeah, but we have a conversation about what we know about what's in a drop of water.
Right. It's just
Because
our portion of the drop of water.
What we think we know. Because basically we're sharing our experiences, and that's why I love these conversations, because there's always something new at the table. There's always something that I get to add to and continue to share. But like I said, how do you know what you know is what you know? If you can honestly, if you answer that question honestly, you know you don't know anything. So therefore, what you do is you tend to not be as judgmental.
Now you're open to learn.
You're open to learn. You're open to receive.
Yes.
Right? Which makes you, on the way to receive. Right? And then life will do what life does, and if you're open to receive, you will receive. Like being grateful. The art of gratefulness is when you find little things in your life to be grateful for, the universe gives you more things to be grateful for because you're looking for things to be grateful for.
Right.
I've seen people praying for the truth and for clarity, and then new concepts have come into their life and they rejected it because they already, they're like that. Hell no, there's no way that can be, now that I prayed this and now that this is here, for some reason it's a disconnect. It's like, oh, this just must be like a trick of the enemy or something like.
That's the program that totally is going to be a trick.
Yeah, not even to just look into it because it's presented itself in your reality, right in your present moment.
You go to the red.
You asked God and God delivered it, and you didn't believe in the God.
It was like,
Hey,
not
are
like
y'all
that.
familiar with that book, Outwitting the Devil?
Oh,
This is that. For real. Like, man, when you find out where and who the devil is, it's like a slap in the face. It's like,
that was great.
wow.
Really like it. It's a full disclosure interview of a man interviewing the devil. And it's I listened to the audio book, so it was like and with and everything. It was great.
Y'all ever heard of the 72 Demons with Sonya? So it basically sounds like that. That's actually one of the books, or one of the epistles, I believe, in the gospel. But the reason why they don't like talking about it because they said that the alchemy and all that stuff basically came from that And basically what he did was he started controlling all the different demons. They got stronger. And they basically took away. But it's basically a similar story to Ryan. That's why I brought that up. So it's like what you just said, outwitting the devil. That's basically what happened with Solomon.
He's asking, he's asking the devil a very simple question in his book. Very simple question.
You said earlier, we don't make choices. Yes, we do. Right. But we only get to make choices. We only get to choose from the choices that we're allowed to choose from. It's that time, man. This is a good conversation. Before we get out of here, I want to go back around one more time and let everybody, add that last little piece. But before we do that, I want to say February 6th, we're having Cars and Cigars right here, which is 4353 Edgewater Drive, Orlando, Suite 200. If you got a nice car that you want to show off and be a part of Cars and Cigars, smoke yourself a good stogie, eat some good food, you're going to want to be here. That goes from 10:30 to 3. And then immediately following that, actually kind of like right there, Mimi's Chocolate, etc. is hosting its first wine and dessert pairing. We're going to have a sommelier who's going to come in, and she's going to do her thing with the wine and with the desserts, and we're going to enjoy some treats. If you ain't had none of these treats, you missing something, because my Lord.
Okay.
That girl, she in the kitchen. She coming with it. Now you can go to Mimi's Chocolate, etc. page and for tickets. The cost of Cigars, there's no charge for that unless you. But you go to the Eventbrite. You find both of them on Eventbrite. Mimi's Chocolate, etc. Wine and dessert pairing, and the others Cars and Cigars. You can go there to register your vehicle. You be a part of the show because we have limited space. So you want to go there to get in. That's also Jason's Soul Return, February 6th. So, by the way, we forgot this at the time. I didn't think he was coming. All right, but we got you. So it's going to be a fantastic time. I'm thinking the tickets for the wine and dessert pairing is $40. For one and 70 for two. You get a little discount if you buy some for a couple people. Gonna be lots of. We got 12 varieties of wine, something like that. No, I'm saying it wrong. Okay, no, leave it alone. I'm saying it wrong. Gonna be lots of wine. and lots of desserts. Right? If you are a vendor and you're interested in coming out and being a part of the event and making you a little bit of money, you can get the information from the Eventbrite for both of those events. And one more time, Devin, anything before we get out of here? Anything else?
I have a financial literacy class February 30th. That'll be next Sunday here.
January 30th.
I apologize. January 30th. That'll be next Sunday. It's limited seats for that as well. We got Billy White. He's a financial teacher and entrepreneur, and but he does teach this class. It's not like a spur of the moment thing. It's something he really does.
Right.
He does this at a lot of community centers, and he's been helping the youth like a lot in this community. So I wanted to branch out and help some adults too.
Yeah.
So we're throwing this class so adults can get a little more financially savvy.
Yeah.
So like we got to be literate in these things if we want to move forward in this world.
Jus'Black.
For the most part, they're stripping, doing hell, trying to stay above water, man.
Y'all don't have karate class in the back no more?
Stripping, doing hell, and karate.
Oh.
And on the candy lake.
No, you show.
So yeah, subscribe to my YouTube, man. Just like UJUS, possibly daily, page, capital P. I'm real ratchet, man. It's ratchet fun. That's what it's all about, man. Ratchet fun. None of all this like won't say.
Oh. play some music. Herbison?
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Herbison Paul.
Jus'Black.
Yo. Well,
Yo,
thank
man,
you for having me. I just want to let everybody know that I'm offering any virtual tax services. We're doing free estimates, and also we're giving out vacations. So just look for us at New Vision.
Say it again. Look out for you where? We'll get in the link. And make sure everybody get the information to everything everybody else is doing.
It's New Vision Taxes, if you can hear me, I'm sorry.
New Vision Taxes, okay. We're also rescheduling, we got the Festival of Love coming up, and it's going to happen in March. So look out for that. It's going to be a fantastic showing. Going to be an outdoor concert, that kind of thing. We're already in motion for making Juneteenth happen. And this is on me for not staying on task, but just so that y'all know, we are still working on the book, the Brotherhood, Manhood, Fatherhood Conversation Series book, our first collaboration, and it's called I Apologize, the Black Man's Apology to the Black Woman. So stay tuned, look out for that. The links will be up so you guys can be able to pre-order within the next 30 days. Other than that, once again, I want to say thank you all for coming. Thank everybody for participating. Thank you for dialing in. And for those of you who are going to watch this later, what's up? All right, peace in the valley. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Have a good night.
Felt the way